Hello everyone, so we talked about this before and now it has arrived, pretty much tomorrow, is the beginning of Ireland's role as the European President for the next 6 months, which is a long time. So basically it's going to be just hectic the next 6 months, because they'll be all running in and out of Ireland and Dublin 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we're basically, the whole show will be in Ireland basically, and unfortunately it has to be because we're paying million euro for it, 400 million euro for the EU presidency, and we get nothing in return. But of course, it is a big thing for Ireland. It is a big thing. But I do hope it benefits, first of all, I do hope it benefits the Irish people in the back pocket. Because at the end of the day, that's who it should benefit the most, the Irish people. The Irish people shouldn't be out as much in their pocket. It should benefit the Irish people, first of all. So hopefully we do see that. Hopefully we do see an increase in people's back pocket. Etc. Instead of the politicians' back pocket. And of course, for business, trade, etc. Hopefully we see that in some shape or form. Now, I will say in the outset of this, I will get into all the details, but in the outset of this, I want to just say I have no issue with any country in Europe. I have an issue with the European Union as a whole in terms of the people sitting in Brussels and Strasbourg. I have an issue with them telling us what to do, Ursula von der Leyen. I have an issue with them. I would say that straight out to you. I have no issue, take for example, with Latvia, Estonia, France, and no issue with them, Denmark, Finland. No issue with them. The Irish people have no issue with sovereign countries. And that's what we want sovereign countries. We don't want the European Union negotiating as a whole. The sovereign countries have a right to have their own say in every discussion, etc. So we have no issue with that. So I want to just briefly just address the pairing of each county in Ireland with a country in Europe. Of course, County Cavan has Latvia, Finland has Monaghan, Greece is in Dublin, etc., and so forth and so on, basically. But I do think it's good, of course, to help out in trade, etc., of course. But again, it has to be beneficial, hopefully both sides, to each county, each country, beneficially, and each county, of course. But we see what happens. But I do support that because it's important that we do have trade, because we do have to trade with our neighbours. And hopefully that will encourage businesses, maybe investment into Ireland, and of course vice versa. And say, for example, in Latvia, people from Cavan might invest because Cavan people have so much money, we don't know what to do with it. But yeah, so Latvian people are going to be looked after well in Cavan. But yeah, you get my gist. You get what I say. But I do. It is a big thing for Ireland. It's a huge thing. It's probably the biggest operation in the history of the state. It's going to cost probably hundreds of billion for that alone. But yeah, look forward to that. Having the bill at the end of it, it could be 70 billion euro. We have to be able to get this all done. But yeah, long story short, there's going to be a lot of confuckery. What I mean by that is just constant, just everything going on in around the country is just going to be insane, to be totally honest with you. But I do hope that the Irish people benefit from this. As I said in the beginning, I do hope they benefit. I do hope they do. Because this is a huge undertaking, and this is a lot of money that's been spent on this. Could go to great use in building a few houses or looking after a few Irish people, but no, we won't do that. But at the end of the day, I think Ireland needs to send out a message to the President of the European Council too, that what the direction of Europe that's going in when it comes to migration, when it comes to digital ID, etc., etc., we want nothing to do with it. That we should throw that out the window, and that's what we should. We really should. Instead of Ireland's trying to push this digital ID as the European presidency, we shouldn't allow this. The Irish people want nothing to do with it. So the government has no consent of the Irish people to push this agenda on Europe too, because we don't want it to be pushed on Europe, or any country in Europe. The simple as that is up to the people of Europe to decide that, not up to Ireland to push it as the European Council. And of course, we won't be told what to do and when to do it. We shouldn't be told, and say that to the politicians. But we see what happens, as I say. But I am, as I say, I have no issue with countries. We should be addressing the issues of the European institution, because there's huge issues there. How Ursula von der Leyen has such power too. We should be questioning this, why she has such power, and she's not elected by anybody. I don't remember ever voting for her. And of course, other issues in the European Union we should be talking about too. Because we have to try and reform the European Union, because what it is at the moment is turned into a dictatorship. And we have to kind of look at that. We have to look at it, because there's too much power gone to buses. Half the legislation in this country comes from buses and stuff. When you have issues like that, they do need to be addressed. And I think Ireland's role should be that, to address it when they have the European presidency. And the push for what it used to be the European Union, because I think nowadays the European Union has gone astray. Completely gone astray. It's gone out of what it was designed for, what the whole institution was designed for, which was trade. And that's what it was pretty much designed for: coal and trade and steel trade back in the day. Nowadays, the European Union tells us what to do and when to do it. That was never the agreement. The Irish people never agreed to that. And no country ever agreed to that. But as I say, I'm optimistic. But I hope it does benefit the people of Ireland, because at the end of the day, that's the whole reason why we have it, because we want to be benefiting the country. Because we're losing more money from it than probably gaining money, and that shouldn't be the case. But we see what happens. But it is going to be hectic the next few weeks. It is going to be really, really hectic. I will say that straight to you. But anyway, we'll see what happens. As I say, the last thing I actually would say just before I go, there probably will be just tons of protests around the clock everywhere. So I don't know. We see what happens. The statists are going to lose their mind if that happens, because they're blocking Ursula von der Leyen, etc. And all these big European high ups, couldn't have that. What about blocking Joe and Mary? We don't care about Joe and Mary, but blocking some German fellow and stuff, German diplomat. Oh, yes, we couldn't do that. But yeah, so we see what happens. We see what happens there either. So it's going to be an effective time. Let's put that way. It's really going to be like whatever way it works. It's just going to be fucking chaos around the clock. But anyway, do let me know what you think. What do you agree with the European presidency of Ireland? Do you think the money should go, that 400 million or more, should go to better use? Maybe looking after people. What do you think? Because I don't think the majority of people are too pleased with it, to be totally honest. A lot of people do. I think a lot of people too don't understand it. First of all, because I've said it to people and they look at me like, what are you talking about? And that's what people are on about it, because they don't understand that every 6 months it rotates. People don't understand that. A lot of people just don't get it, and rightly so, because why would they care? Benefit? It doesn't benefit them in their lives. They still have the bills to pay. They still have to go to work. The European Union's not paying for them. But you get what I'm saying. So a lot of people don't understand, and a lot of people don't care, first of all, about it, because there's no benefit to them. And probably rightly so, but let me know what you think, because it is important that the people of Ireland have their say and have a view on it, and of course speak their mind, because and as I say, I don't mind European, sovereign independent countries in Europe. Of course, we have no issue with any country in Europe. Just to say it straight out, we have no issue with any country, but we do have we have a problem with the institution of it. What I mean by that, the institution, the European Union institution. It's failing the people of Europe, in my view. In a lot of people's view too, that it is failing the people of Europe. And I think we all need to understand that too, because it isn't working for the people of Europe, and it isn't working for the people of Ireland. If anything, it's starting to work against the people. And that's when you have a problem. When you have that kind of institution, you have a problem. But anyway, that's a story for a different day and stuff. But we see what happens, as I say. I'm hoping that it benefits both sides, that it benefits, say for example, in Cavan from Latvia, Monaghan and Finland, etc. Hopefully it will benefit every county greatly, hopefully, and even countries. Hopefully we can, as I say, for Latvia and Cavan, hopefully we continue to have a positive impact. Of course, that's what I want too. And of course, along with trade and employment, etc. Hopefully we can do that. We see how we go. But we will talk about it a lot. We'll be yapping about this for years now. Well, not years, but the next 6 months anyway. Anyway, thank you everyone for listening. I appreciate it. We see what happens, and thank you. Bye.